This is called breakdancing or breaking. Like rapping, it's a competitive display of style. Dance as a form of ritual warfare.
After the initial splash of breakdancing, it became a phenomenon. And it was all about breakdancing, at least as far as the media was concerned.
As soon as the man with the money said, hey, we can make money off of this here, that's when it blew up. That's when it really blew up.
When they came out with those books, place your right foot, perpendicular to your left ankle.
This guy was selling cardboard. He had a company making cardboard boxes that you carry with you and open up that says the Oz Rock.
When you got on the train, there would be kids breaking. When you went to the city, it'd be just people breaking. It was all over the place.
Guys falling out of the closets, coming from under cars, looking around. I mean, hanging from the ceiling, popping in. I mean, it was everywhere. I was like, damn, oh, damn.
That's when the Olympics came. What, 4 billion people saw the Olympics?
We are the pioneers of taking breakdancing mainstream.
Ladies and gentlemen, homeboys, homegirls, the New York City Breaker.
We, the New York City Breakers, we certainly commercialized it more than any other crew did. We got it onto big shows and in advertisements.
Probably culminating with this big television show that Ronald Reagan was at. It was some big presidential performance, and they had breakdancers perform on national TV, and it was like, what is going on?
And breakdancing just spread so wide. I mean, they had cardboards on every street corner. It was like, I think it even hit more bigger than it hit in New York. And it went in every mall. Malls had to close down sometimes. They had things where kids were doing windmills, falling downstairs and getting up and hitting customers when they were shopping. It was so packed that the police would go undercover and wear undercover uniforms and just arrest kids for breakdancing.
The media just fed into it and grabbed whatever breaker they can get. They were like, well, hey, you know, if you can just do anything, we'll take you.
Make the selection different. This year, vote break and make it count more and more and more and more.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not to be believed. You're a Ken Swift, right?
Yeah.
Rocksteady, travel all over the world, and then next you know, boom, Beach Street came out.
Yo, what's up? Yo, man, yo biters. All your homeboys are biters. Yo, whack, so what's up with that? Yo, what are you talking about, man? I never stole no moves from you. All your moves ain't worth it a bit. So what's up with that, punk? Punk, who you calling punk?
And boom, Rocksteady, New York City Breakers, and Mad Force chilling in Con France. We was bugging. We were like the young kids of the 80s, you know what I mean? The exploitation era, but it took us all over the world. We were bumping into each other cross-continent, you know what I'm saying? And we thought we were rich and shit.
Crazy Legs and those guys were managed by a chick named Lady Blue. She had engineered them to make a record that became a #1 hit in London. Hey You, the Rocksteady Crew. It was not a B-boy record. It was a pop record, but it was a #1 song. And I don't think the Rocksteady Crew ever really loved the record because they were like, you know, this ain't about B-boying, but it was about putting some money in their pockets for a minute.
I started breakdancing with my friend Donovan and Mike, and we actually had a lot of those black people in Samoan, and we used to all come to my house, and my mom would wake up in the morning, there'd be like a gang of Samoans from like Carson City, hardcore, and she'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm like, Mom, teach me how to spin on my head.
A lot of people, unfortunately, took it as a fad, you know?
I guess what was going on was the breakdancers themselves weren't in control of it. It was just a media frenzy, as oftentimes happens in this here crazy pop culture that we live in. So you just get chewed up and spit out by the media machine.
I don't know why, but the police and other people in the city and officials wanted to ban breakdancing because they felt it was a nuisance. They shut down the streets, they shut down Venice Beach before. I saw a guy just do an arm wave and go to jail.
But what they did was just, you know, they put it out there and then they, you know, everybody was into it like as far as just this, the end thing. Then when the next thing came through, they kind of like kicked it to the curb.
A lot of the mainstream kids, you know. The media said, okay, it's dead, it's time to move on.
So you know everybody on the industry tried to get all their mileage out of it and milk it for what it's worth, rape it like they do, and move on.
B-Bboying did eventually die out. There's a number of reasons why, and there are people out there who kind of blame me in a way because they see myself and the New York City Breakers as being the people who took breaking from being underground and taking it and making it really huge and making it a big splash out of it, putting it out there in television and in films, and we commercialized it, and I'm not ashamed of that.
Here we were, 1 minute we were in the limelight. Everything was straight. Traveling all around the world, walk up to a club, hey, come on in, club. You help build as far as reputation, you know. And next thing you know, it's like, go to the back of the line, boom. You know, how do you really nurture someone for this industry? You know, and prepare them for what can happen, especially someone coming from the ghetto, and all you see is like money. From that to having loot in your pocket, renting OJs out, getting all your boys high, and having honeys, and to next thing, just like having the rug pulled under you. Yo, I went through the ill identity crisis.
When we were dancing and one of the guys, Matt, he got killed in a motorcycle accident. It's like from then, it's like everything just started falling apart.
Yeah, that
we didn't get any more gigs.
That kind of brought us bad luck.
Yeah, it kind of brought us bad luck. We didn't get any gigs, and we just kind of lost it from there. We stopped dancing.
Toward the end of '84, like, a lot of crews broke up, you know, including Rocksteadies and New York City Breakers and Dynamics.
And I think it should have never went above ground. I don't think it was made for commercialism. I think it was designed by God to spread love between the communities. You know, there's a lot of kids that have so much energy, creative energy, you don't know what to do with it. You know, we were doing wild things, man, but the longer I was on the cardboard, it just kept me occupied.
You were too tired of fighting because you've been popping and breaking all night. You were too busy learning how to windmill than to rob and steal. Because the idle hand is a devil's workshop. So if you had so much to do, you ain't never had time to go out and do the wrong.
Imagine somebody took me and showed me how to wear a bandana, a rag or something to claim a color. I would have put the same energy in the gangbanging as I did in the b-boying.
Our aggression was breakdancing, was b-boying towards another crew. You know, because before that came, there was gangs.
NWA, they came out with their versions of rap. And what they did was, it actually influenced gangsterism.
I seen the change from rap being rocking parties to rap being gangster. I was there when it changed. I was there and I even became a part of it, trying to be a gangster, started getting tatted, started getting braids, cornrows, started sagging.
You know, I was like so disappointed with just like everything that was going on in my life with, you know, Rocksteady crew. I just started going back to school. I got a job, you know, also going to college for a minute. And I started hanging out with some old school friends, Buck Boy, and you know, it was my best friend. And unfortunately, they weren't into the greatest scene in the world. I was sniffing blow, smoking weed. I used to sell guns. I held over $1 million for a friend of mine in my crib for about 2 years. Cash. And I was involved with certain things that you know, led to some of my closest friends getting killed.
You look right now at like Randy. He was from the I think he was from the LA Breakers. Kid Tough. They're all in jail, and it's like even Float, one of the best breakers ever in New York City, which is in jail for murder right now.
But before I got involved with hustling, doing this thing, along with that game comes a lot of, you know, ridiculous beef. Sometimes there's beef, and then one person gets murdered, another person on the other side gets murdered, and eventually it got to a point where they found out where Buck lived. They caught him in his garage, and they basically kind of like tortured him and murdered him execution style.
We'd like to have a moment of silence. A moment of silence for them. So everyone, if they can be quiet for a few moments, just to honor those brothers that have passed away.
Look in the street and see muggings, killings, and you say to yourself, hey, I'm doing something for this world. I'm entertaining people. That's good. That makes me feel good.
Thank you.